This afternoon, I want to talk a little bit about women and livestock, being International Women's Day. And what I want to focus on is why women are important in livestock, but also why livestock is important for women. So several issues that come out of this. Let me talk about each of these issues very briefly, one at a time. Livestock assets for women. Why is it important for women to own assets? When women own assets, it improves the well-being of the whole families, including the husbands themselves. The ownership of assets by women has been associated with very many development outcomes, one of them being health, nutrition, and education, especially education of girls. And if people don't invest in the education of those girls, what world do we have tomorrow? Ownership of assets. Ownership of assets actually improves decision-making within the household. Men, your wife owning assets even improves the way you negotiate, the way you sit down around the table. You are giving ideas, she's giving ideas, because she knows her ideas are valid. Now, the other very important thing about livestock as assets, we know the difficulties of property ownership in most of African countries, most of Asian countries. And livestock is the one asset that does not have the baggage of property rights. That you can go to the market and buy a cow as a woman, nobody will stop you, and it's not the same as land. It is not bound by a lot of the property rights that bind assets like land. And therefore, livestock offers the best opportunity to start increasing women's assets if we want to see the spillover of the development outcomes that come with women having assets. Despite livestock being one of the easiest assets, the least complicated assets that women can own, we are still seeing very low ownership of livestock by women, be it cows, be it goats. At most, you'll find them owning chicken. Why is that state of affairs the way it is? What we are also seeing is that the means of acquisition of livestock by women are very different. A lot of them are coming from inheritance, from gifts, from group purchases, and very rarely as direct purchase in the market. So then we know we have an issue to deal with. If you look at a lot of projects, they can tell you the percentage of labor that women are putting in livestock. They'll have all the feeding is done by women. They'll be saying all the watering is being done by women. But wait until that project has a training on feeding. Who do you think will be at the training on feeding? Despite our data showing that 99.99% of the feeding of livestock is done by women, we'll still have a training that's 99.99% men. We are not targeting technologies, inputs, information, capacity to the people that need it. For the moment, we are not acting as gender activists. All we are saying is resources must go to improving the efficiency of the people who are doing the job. And maybe we'll get to that point when we start questioning the gender roles and all that. But for the time being, we are not even going there. The third issue, marketing. We know from a lot of value chain analysis that women have they have different points within the value chains where they participate, where they are able to participate. A lot of times, these are in the informal parts of the value chains. It is those milk bars in Kogelo where women get their livelihoods from. It doesn't mean they are not in the formal system. There are women in the formal system. But there are many more women in the informal systems. We are seeing as some of these marketing systems become more formalized, women getting edged out of their niches within those chains. And if we are not careful, we might make things worse off than they are. And I'm not saying that we will not formalize markets. Markets will become formalized. Yeah? It's very nice to have a cooling plant in a village. It brings a lot of other benefits beyond even just the milk. It's employment for the young people in the village. I'm sure they are the ones working in the plant. But at the same time, we need to be doing research to see what are the implications for this formalization on women. How can we best support women within the points of the chains where they are, rather than edge them out? I've been doing very interesting research on this, that when the money is in the pocket of the woman and money is in the pocket of a man, the expenditure priorities are very different. Very, very different. And the aim is to ensure there is money in the pockets of the man and there is money in the pockets of the woman. Income control. Being able to make decisions on income. This is a very sensitive topic because it is a very household level issue. But the strategy is to be able to see what chains, what types of livestock, what types of markets ensure that women can have some decision-making power around income from livestock. We've done this with the East African Dairy Development Project. And the studies show when the milk goes to the chilling plant, in about 85-86% of the households, money specifically goes to the men. When there is milk being sold in the informal markets, to neighbors, to private traders, to the bicycle traders, because of the ease of those kinds of markets, we see a better distribution of income within households and a better variety of priorities on which the income is being spent. Because East Africa Dairy Development is one of our biggest research for development projects, we are doing a lot of testing of things with it. They have these chilling plants. I'm sure most of you have heard about the project. And one of the things that's happening is households within the community where they are can buy shares to these chilling plants, but women are not buying shares. So looking at strategies to increase women shareholding in these chilling plants, because that's how they're going to be able to be part of the decision-making process within those formalized markets. And we are hoping that soon we can start focusing a lot more on the informal markets and supporting women at the points where they are in the chain. Nutrition. There are two main pathways to food security and nutrition. Either consumption from own production or through increases in incomes. Yeah? And for livestock, both of those actually offer very big opportunities for improving food security and nutrition through consumption of animal source foods, which, as we all know, are very important for diet, especially for young children. But also that livestock is one of these things that you have chicken and you sell very quickly. You have a goat, you sell, and you bridge your food deficit gap. So livestock really offer a big opportunity for improving food security and nutrition. But one of the things we're seeing is, as more and more livestock goes and products goes to markets, and as priorities of expenditure differ between the men and the women, those trade-offs have to be managed. That increased marketing can work against food security if there is no strategies to make sure that that trade-off is managed. And so I ask again, does it matter, even in your households, whose pocket the money is in? I mean, these things are not as straightforward as they look. That the fact that a household has higher income. I've seen households with very high incomes and stunted children. Yeah? I'm sure you've come across households that look like they are well off. They have an income source, but they have children that have undernutrition. We know women are the mediators for food security within households. So how to manage that tripartite, relationship? Bottom line being that in livestock marketing projects, we need to be able to manage the nutrition. We will not be successful if all we do is have people with money walking around and stunted children. We have to be able to measure our impact from all those perspectives, because we are looking for the improved well-being of households, from income to nutrition to food security to general well-being. And the last one that I shouldn't forget to mention is health itself. And this is work looking at the different risks to men and women from livestock based on their roles and responsibilities in livestock production. And women are more at risk from the diseases that get transmitted from livestock to human, zoonosis, because they are handling a lot of raw livestock products in markets, and that health risk has to be managed. There has to be strategies, and there are already strategies being used to manage those health risks. Basically, what I'm saying is, this is an area of importance. I'm hoping you're convinced, as I am, that it is an area we cannot ignore. As we go into developing new projects, as we go into supporting new projects, how are we integrating gender in these projects? How are we going to measure the impacts that we have on gender and subsequently on household well-being in all the projects that we are working on? And how do we take some of these specific issues that we know both offer threats and opportunities to women and do something about them? Thank you very much.